राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना जमुना तीरवन चारी। यमुना तीरवन चारी। ओ जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी
जय राधा श्याम सुधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर श्री राधे। जय कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय
कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण
जय गौरनीताय 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 जय गौरनीताय जय। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद।
जय गौर प्रेमानंदे नाम संकीर्तन की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवत महापुराण की श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय गौर प्रेमानंदे। गुरवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्ण भक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामनि गौरात्वेषे नमः। नित्यानन्दं नमस्तुभ्यं परमानन्ददायिने कलिकलमश विनाशाय जहन्नवापतये नमः। वागेश्वरी यस्य वदने लक्ष्मी यस्यश्च वक्षसे यस्यासि हृदय संवेद तम नरसिंहम अहम भजे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. You are all welcome for morning Srimad Bhagavatam class at Sri Sri Krishna Balram Temple, Skan Vrindavan. We are reading from 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd chapter. So 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, this subject matter of Bhagavatam is mukti or liberation. So the first chapter is actually describing how Krishna has used the Pandavas and Yadavas to unburden the earth, and then he become completely renounced and himself disappeared along with everybody. Then the chapter 2, 3 and 4 is the Bhagavat Dharma, where in the sacrificial arena of Maharaj Nimi, which is very famous, one of the king in a solar dynasty. The name Videharaj, Janak and Mithala is originating from Maharaj Nimi. And in his sacrificial arena, nine celibate Yogendra, son of Rishabdev, they have direction as their dress, appeared there. And Nimi Maharaj recognized them as exalted spiritual personality, so he stopped the sacrifice for a while and he wanted to listen from them the Bhagavat Dharma. So the 9 Yogendra, Kavi, Havi, Antraksha, this is the subject matter which we are discussing, is third Yogendra, Antraksha. So first question from Kavi was, what is the ultimate benefit for the humanity? And the answer is devotional service. And the second question was asked, what are the level of the devotees? Kanishta, Madhyam and Uttam Bhagavata. This was answered by the next Yogendra, Havi. Now Antaraksha means actually space. It means one who has a wider knowledge. And the question asked by Nimi Maharaj is about what is Maya. What is Maya and how it influences the living entities. So when we say Maya, what comes in our mind? three modes of material nature. Maya means influence of three modes of material nature. It's called Triguni Maya. Tri means three, Guni means mode of material nature. Maya is made up of three modes of material nature. Maya exerts its influence through three modes of material nature. And then Bhagavad Gita, immediately you refer, and Bhagavad Gita says, Sadasad Yoni Janamasu. Somebody will get the higher birth or lower birth according to the mode of material nature. Urdhva gachanti sattvastha madhyatishtanti rajasa jagan gunvarti sto adho gachanti tamasa. Those who are in the mode of goodness go to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion stay on this earthly planet as human beings. And those in the mode of ignorance go to the lower species. So the influence of Maya is in transmigration of the soul from one to the other body. So this is the influence of Maya. In 12th canto also, the question is asked from Rishi Markandeya. Markandeya, what is Maya? And he was sitting there, and all of a sudden there is a devastation, and then he did not see anything, and then somehow he found himself somewhere where he saw Krishna, small baby, and having a toe of his Lord's feet in his mouth. Vatasya patrasya pute syanam balam mukandam manase samrami. So this Maya means devastation also. So now these verses from 1 to 16 of this chapter, Antariksh is speaking about the Maya and its influence. And now the verses today we will discuss 7 and 8 is actually describing how the living entities go from one to the other body, and then at the time of annihilation, they are living entities, without effortlessly, because they cannot do anything. They are forced to do. The word is avasya. Means no, vasya means they don't have any independence. They are just forced according to their karma. And they transmigrate from one body to another body. And then the last part of this Antraksha's description is how the devastation takes place. 1 year is heat, sun comes down, everything burns, and then from Anantshesh, the fire is generated, the water will boil. These are the verses which will describe how the annihilation takes place. So now we are discussing verse number 7. Itham karam gati gachan bahava abhadrava puman abhuta sampalva sarga pralyavashnuti avasyaha Itham karma gati gachan bahava abhadra vaha puman abhutaha sampalva sarga pralavyaha shnuti avasyaha Itham karma gati gachan bahava abhadraha vaha puman abhuta sampal vatsarga pralavyashnuti avasyaha Ittam karamagate gachan bahava bhadrava puman sarga pralavyasvashnote avasyaha. Somebody else? Ittam karma gate gachan अभूता संपलवात्कार सर्ग माता जी इत्थं कर्म गच्छ बहो अभद्रः वः पुमान् अभूत संपलवात् प्रयाश्नोते अवश्यः. Now word to word meaning. Itham, in this way. Karma gati, the destination determined by the past activities. Gachan, obtaining. Bahu abhadra, much that is inauspicious. Vaha, which involve. Puman, the living being. Abhuta sampalva, until the dissolution of the created universe. Sarga pralayao, birth and death. Ashnote, he experiences. Avashaha, helplessly. Translation and purport by followers of His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Thus, the conditioned living entity is forced to experience repeated birth and death. Thus, in this way, conditioned living entity, once we discuss what is the meaning of conditioned living entity. Anybody remember? We call conditioned living entity, what it means. Living entity conditions by three modes of material nature. And liberated living entity is free from the influence of three modes of material nature. So, conditioned soul means that the word in Hindi is Baddha Jeev. Baddha means bound. So bound by ropes. What are the ropes? Modes of three material nature. So these three modes of material nature, how they bound the living entity. And the living entity is called a conditioned soul. How? Where they exert their influence. Mode of material nature exert their influence where? On the subtle body. Subtle body is made up of mind, intelligence, false ego and polluted consciousness, chitta. So these three modes of material nature, they exert their influence on mind, intelligence, false ego and consciousness. What is the result? The result is subhava. Subhava means nature. A person's nature is determined by three modes of material nature. And this subhava or nature forces the living entity to perform certain action. Subhavastu pravartate. You remember, you recall this verse from 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. न कर्तृत्वम न कर्माणि लोकम सृजते प्रभु. Prabhu here is a living entity, master of the body. He is not doing anything. Na kartitva, he is not doing anything. Na kartitva na karmani, he is not doing any actions. Na karam phal sanyogam, and he is not responsible for the result of the work. Then who is doing? Subhavastu pravartate. It is only his acquired nature from three modes of material nature that forces him to perform the work. Prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasa vimud atma kartaham iti manyate. So bewildered living entity think I am doing. He is not doing. Material nature is doing through three modes of material nature. So it is our nature of a conditioned soul which is influenced by three modes of material nature, that forces us to perform karma. So karmas are performed by the influence of three modes of material nature, and that form our subhav, our nature, and that forces us to perform some action. And then therefore we have to accept somebody to enjoy or suffer the result of that action. So conditioned soul, living entity is forced. It's forced by what? Forced by his nature. Forced by his nature. Then again you call the Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, when Arjuna is asking this question from Krishna, nobody wants to perform sinful activities. Who is forcing him to do this? Baladiv Varshane. Krishna, somebody is forcing to perform sinful activity. Living entity, Nyojati. Who is actually forcing him? And what is the answer of Krishna? Kamesha, Krodesha, Rajoguna Samudbhava. It is the mode of passion which forces the person to have a desire. And all the desires are not fulfilled, therefore he becomes angry. And these two actions, lust and anger, are greatest enemy of the living entity. And they are not satisfied, never satisfied. So ultimately, who forces? Living entity is forced to experience. Forced to experience, forced by influence of three modes of material nature. Every action we are doing is governed by three modes of material nature. So Srila Prabhupada wanted at least those who are interested in Krishna consciousness must be at least in mode of goodness. And throughout the whole Vedic literature, the advice is to be free from the mode of ignorance and passion, and at least come to the stage of mode of goodness. This is a standard instruction of the Vedic literature, because mode of ignorance and passion are always suffering. So at least we have to come to the mode of goodness. This is minimum requirement from the devotees practicing Krishna consciousness. And what is the advantage of mode of goodness? Jnanam. They are interested in knowledge. Only in mode of goodness somebody will be interested in real knowledge. Sato sanjayate jnanam. This knowledge is most important. And sambandha jnana, knowledge about Krishna. Only in a mode of goodness it is possible. And therefore the whole program charted out by Srila Prabhupada is to bring the practicing devotees to mode of goodness. From morning, all the programs are just to bring us to mode of goodness. Actually, temple is beyond three modes of material nature. Mama Niketanam Nirguna, 11th canto Bhagavatam says, Mama Niketanam means my temple is Nirguna, beyond three modes of material nature. People who are in mode of ignorance, they want to live near the liquor shop or where there is intoxication, they live there. The people in mode of passion, they live near the stock exchange or market places where they can make money. The people in mode of goodness, they live in the mountain, at the bank of river, where there is a forest, where there is a peace. But those who are beyond three modes of material nature, they live in the temple. So this is how the three modes has their influence. Places. The places have influence. Person has influence. Work has influence. So three modes are all pervading, because this world is made up of Maya, right? You know, in a Hindi, married woman goes to their parents, what is called? parent of a married woman in Hindi is called Maika. What is called? Maika. Mai means mother. Ka means of mother's house. So this whole material world is our Maika. Maika means Mayaka. Any woman who is married cannot live forever at mother's house. She will be only happy when she goes back to the husband, right? So nobody can be happy at the mother house after marriage. Maybe for a few days is okay. But forever she cannot live there. So this world is Maika for all of us, both male and female. We cannot live here ever for happy. We have go to our master, back to home, back to Godhead. Then only we can be satisfied. So this world is made up of Maya. Right? This is Maya. And there, instead of Maya, is a Daivi Prakriti. Daivi Prakriti, Radharani. Daivi Prakriti is Radharani. Mahatman astumam parat devim prakritim ashrita. So in Bhagavad Gita, there is mention of Radharani. In this verse, devim prakritim ashrita. The great souls are under the jurisdiction of divine energy, internal potency. And also there is a mention of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Bhagavad Gita. Satatam kirtanayanto mam yatatansya dhrida vrataha. Next verse. Always doing kirtan, taking a great vow of sannyas at the age of 24 years. So they are mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. If we want to look in, we will find the answer. Because Prabhupada, in a preface of teaching of Lord Chaitanya writes that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is God, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Evidence is in Bhagavad Gita, in Mahabharata, in Bhagavatam. He wrote Bhagavad Gita. Then I looked where is in Bhagavad Gita Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentioned. Prabhupada has written this one line there. So, conditioned soul is forced to experience repeated birth and death. Why? To enjoy or suffer the result of his karma. And why he perform karma? Because he is forced by his nature. Now next line. Impelled by the reaction of his own activities. Reaction of his own activities. What action he has performed, there is a reaction. He helplessly wanders from one inauspicious situation to the another, suffering from moment of creation until the time of cosmic annihilation. Sarage pralao. Sarage means creation and pralao means annihilation. So from the beginning of creation, now at least this creation in which we are living, 50 years of Brahma are over, one prarabdha is over, 51 years start, and first day and it is the afternoon of the first day of 51 year of Brahma. It is 7th Manu, Vivasvat Manu's time. So out of the 14 Manu, this is 7th Manu means midday of the Brahma. So still the living entities has to suffer 50 more years, less than half day. Then when there is a Mahapralaya, then they all will again be dissolved and then new creation will take place. But then again, they continue their journey. So this is actually the subject matter of 12th canto of Bhagavatam, Nirodha, the 4 type of annihilation. Nitya means every day. We sleep 6 hours. This whole world is non-existence for us. That is called Nitya Pralaya, every day. Then there is a Naimitic Pralaya when Brahma sleeps. Then there is Mahapralaya when Brahma, after 100 years, closes the whole creation. And then atyantik pralaya, when we get free from this material world and go back home, back to Godhead. That is called atyantik or ultimate annihilation from the material existence. So, purport, according to Srila Madhvacharya, after hearing the living entities repeatedly subjected to birth and death within the material world, if one still considers such a helpless entity equal to God in all respect, one will surely fall into the darkest region of the universe, from which it is difficult to rise. So one line in the purport, Madhvacharya says, living entities forced helplessly to go from one life to other life. If we consider the living entity equal to God, then this is atheism. And Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, 4 people, among the four, they go to the lower species. Dushkritino, Mudha Prapadyante Naradama, Maya Parata Jnana, Asurim Yoni, they are Asurim. They go to the Asurim Yoni based on that. So there are three truths we have to understand. Birth and death is for body. Soul is forced according to his karma to accept the body and give up the body. Not by sweet will, but is forced helplessly to accept the body. And Supreme Lord also appear by his sweet will. So these are the three things in this material world. Body is born and body dies. Living entity is forced according to his karma to come and go in different bodies. And Supreme Lord appears by his sweet will. He is not forced to come, he comes by his sweet will. Why he comes? He comes to give, number one, give information that what God is. And second, Prabhupada used to say, in a prison house, sometime president comes and he gives the good chance for the inmates to rectify, or he may release them, those who, and he can say, okay, release them quickly. So Supreme Lord comes here actually to give us some concession that we can, that's next purport is like that. We have a chance. Either we should continue repeated birth and death, or we should stop this and go back to home, back to Godhead. This independence we have. So this verse is speaking about suffering of the living entity from one body to other body by the action of his karma from the beginning of creation to the end of creation. Now the next verse says, Dhatu papalva ashne asane vyaktam dravya gunatmakam anadi nidhanna kalo hai avyakta Vyapakarashati. So dhatu means of material elements. Dhatu, say dhatu of material elements. Upapalave, the dissolution. Asane, when it has become immanent. Vyaktam, the manifest cosmos. Dravya, the grass object. Guna, the subtle modes. Atmakam, consisting of. Anadi, without beginning. Nidhanaha, or the end. Kalaha, time. He, indeed. Avyaktaya, into unmanifest. Aprakarshati, draws. Now, next verse says, when the annihilation of the material element is imminent, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his form of eternal time withdraw the manifest cosmos consisting of gross and subtle features, and the entire universe vanishes into non-manifestation. When the annihilation of the material element is imminent, it means when the 100 years of Brahma are over. 1 year before that, the Supreme Personality of God in his form of eternal time, Kala. Kalo asmi loka kshaya pravardho. I am the time to destroy everything created. So Krishna is acting as a Kala. Withdraw the manifest cosmos. Manifest cosmos means this created material world, which is made up of 24 elements. Ultimately, there are 24 elements. Everything is made up of that. 24 elements you can count. 5 gross element, 5 knowledge acquiring senses, 5 working senses, 5 sense objects, 20. Mind, intelligence, false ego, and the 24th is Mahatattva. Mahatattva, which in the body is as a chitta. In the body, Mahatattva is represented as chitta. So these are 24 elements. This is the whole material world made up of, ultimately. But manifest means when they have different forms. Vyaktam means different forms. 84,100,000 species. All these forms is a manifest. See, in my body, your body, beautiful lady's body, Indra's demigod's body, or the body of an ant, they are all made up of same material. They are made up of same material. But they are in a different shape. Some shape are ugly and we are afraid of those shapes. Some shape are beautiful, we are attracted. But they are all ultimately is a, this liquid beauty. Srila Prabhupada's example of liquid beauty. You remember, this is what actually the whole body is. This is nothing. It's all same matter. So this is a Vyaktam, means when the manifest cosmos with 84,100,000 species, with mountains, with rivers, with everything, it reverts back to the unmanifest stage. And that unmanifest stage is called Pradhan. Whole material nature, when not in use, when is in a resting stage, is called Pradhan. It goes back where? To the, who is the reservoir of total material energy? Karundakshayi Vishnu. Karundakshayi Vishnu is the reservoir of total material energy. Garbhodakshayi Vishnu is the reservoir or the soul of the one universe. So everything goes back to the Karundakshayi Vishnu. When Brahma sleeps, everything goes into the Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. But when the Brahma 100 years over, then everything goes back to the Mahavishnu. So that is annihilation. This is what is written here. At that time, when that is imminent, means 1 year before that, the Supreme Kal in the form of Kal withdraw manifest cosmos. Withdraw manifest cosmos. How? Next verse will take. The next verse will say, for one year or 100 years, Shat Varsha, 100 years. Shat means 100. There will be drought, no rain. Sun will come little low and everything will boil, burn. This is the next stage. And then manifest and grass and subtle features. So this, like our body has a grass body and subtle body. So everything has a grass and subtle. So the word for subtle is guna. And grass here in the verse is say, aninidanam kalo vyaktam dravya and guna. Dravya is grass and guna is subtle. So, the grass and subtle, in Bhagavad Gita 8th chapter, grass and subtle are described as Ashtadha Bhinna Prakriti. 5 grass elements and 3 subtle elements. So this is a grass and subtle actually. So they unmanifest, consisting of grass and subtle features, and the entire universe vanishes into non-manifestation. It means they go back to the Pradhan, the stage of Pradhan. It means baby in the womb. When baby is born, when next creation starts, then same Pradhan, when it is the time to create, it comes out and it's called Mahat Tattva. So Mahat Tattva is the same Pradhan just before creation. When there is no creation, that is called Pradhan. When there is a creation, it's called Mahat Tattva. It is same thing. Like the things in the Godan, festival utensil are in Godan is Pradhan. When festival comes, you take them out, wash them, it is Mahat Tattva. Then the creation starts. And now who is destroying the creation in this verse? Supreme Lord in the form of Kal. And who will initiate the creation? Again Kal. In that Mahat Tattva, Kal enters and agitates the guna, which are in equilibrium. Kal is agitating the gunas. So same Kal is a cause of annihilation, is also cause of creation. So the same Kal is working. Their Kal, glands of the Supreme Lord, living entities, these three, when enter into the Mahat Tattva, then the creation starts. So glance of the Supreme Lord and a Kal. Now, purport by Srila Prabhupada's disciple. In the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Kapil Dev teaches that material nature originally exists in an inert state of equilibrium called Pradhan. Inert state of equilibrium of what? Equilibrium of 3 modes of material nature. They are in one position. This is called equilibrium of 3 modes of material nature. They are in a straight line. So this is called Pradhan. When the Vishnu cast his potent glance in the form of Kal or time, so glance of the Vishnu is called Kal here. Material interaction take place. It means 3 gunas are 3 modes of material nature are agitated by the Kal. Take place, culminating in the variegated creation of the material cosmos. Then this creation is called Sarga, primary creation by Lord Vishnu, creation of 16 elements. That is Sarga. It means only elements are given. The next is a Visarga by Brahma. Same thing, he makes the different shapes and forms of the same material, but he makes the different Akriti, Prakriti. Next. In this verse, it is stated that at the end of universal time, the same Kal that originally incited the female nature into the manifestation again withdraw the cosmos into the original state of inert non-manifestation. Why the word female is written? Bhagavad Gita, 14th chapter. Garbham dadamyaham. Mahad. Prakriti is female. And Garbham means putting the living entities into the Mahad Tattva. So this great Prakriti is a female. Prakriti means female. So same thing. The creation is started by Kal and is annihilated by Kal. So this is the function of Kal. Therefore, yesterday somebody was saying 5 subject matter of Bhagavad Gita, and one of them is Kal. So some teacher was about to teach this subject matter. I asked, where is Kal in Bhagavad Gita? Usually, it's not very easy to describe the one of the subject of Bhagavad Gita, Kal. But the Kal one is Kalavasmi in 11th chapter. The second Kal is Yam Vapi Sumam Vapam Ante Kalevaram. And the other Kal is in 8th and 9th chapter. The Brahma's day and night, and then Brahma's whole life, Sarga and Visarga. So 8th and 9th chapter has a Kal, and this is that Kal. So in Bhagavad Gita, where is Kal? And you have to find the Kal in these 4 places. Because creation is started by Kal. Or Brahma's night come, Brahma's days come, so it is Kal. So this is the one thing we have learned today is creation is started by Kal and is finished by Kal. According to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the time potency itself, Kal is then withdrawn and it merges into the Supreme Soul, Super Soul. So Kal at the time of annihilation, after withdrawing everything, Kal itself enter into the Super Soul. But this Super Soul is a Super Soul of total cosmos. It means Mahavishnu. This is not Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. This is Mahavishnu, who manifests himself as original cause of material nature. Anadi Adi Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Such a technical arrangement for creation and annihilation, birth and death do not exist in the eternal spiritual kingdom of God. Because the living entities, they are liberated, so there is no creation, there is no annihilation. They are eternally living there. In the spiritual sky, the variegated spiritual enjoyment of the Lord and his devotees is not hampered by the inferior cycle of birth, maintenance and destruction found in the material world. What it means? It means in the spiritual world there is no need of Lord Shiva, Brahma and Vishnu. These are the Guna Avatar. Because there is no creation, so there is no need of Brahma. There is no annihilation, no need of Shiva. There is no maintenance, so there is no need of Vishnu actually. Because Super Soul does not exist in the spiritual world. And there is no Brahma there. If Brahma goes there, he goes as a liberated living entity. He has nothing to do as a creation. So these 3 things not exist in the spiritual world. One was liberated, one was conditioned. out of the 2, one came back to the repeated birth and death. So in these 2 verses, what we have learned is actually how living entities forced to accept body and give up body, and how ultimately this process of repeated birth and death starts from the beginning of creation to the last annihilation. He has to continue this. If he is not insane and he wants to really get free from this cycle of continuous birth and death, which is since time immemorial, he should immediately surrender to Supreme Lord and go back to the spiritual world where this cycle does not exist. Okay? So, any question or comment? Yes, Prabhu. Yes?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, thank you for very nice class. So, you mentioned that when Lord Brahma dies, that is called the total annihilation. So, there is so many Brahmas in different universes. So that means that all the Brahmas simultaneously die at the same time, that everything gets diminished, or how is that works?
This is the description of one universe. And in the material creation, there are innumerable universes. Koti Brahmanda. Koti means, say, 10 million. So as many universes are there, that many Brahmas are there, that many Shivas and that many Vishnus are there. Koti Brahma, Koti Vishnu, Koti Shiva. Each universe has all these. It's not that all the universes are annihilated simultaneously. Anybody has discussed this subject sometime? Is one universe annihilated at a time, or all are annihilated simultaneously? What we are reading is only one universe as a prototype. It's not that all universes are annihilated at a time. No, some has a different duration. Definitely there is a different duration, there is a different... This is the smaller universe in which we are living, with the four-headed Brahma. But the other universes are too big and too more complicated. I don't think this is the for all at a time. Yes?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. If I remember, there is a mention that from the pores of Karanadakshay Vishnu, the universes emanate as he breathes, and then they enter his body again when he breathes in. I'm not sure.
This is when he breathes out, universe come in. When breathes in, all universe go in, come out and go in. When we say from each pore of the Mahavishnu universes come, then they are floating in Karan ocean. But the one universe which needs to be created, then Garbhodakshay Vishnu enter into one. It's not all created at a time. The next line says, they are like a small pea-sized universes. They are just like a ball floating in a casual ocean. But that universe which needs to be created, in that Garbhodakshay Vishnu enters and the process of creation starts. It's not an all at one time he enters. It says something like that. So, is all simultaneously created? All species are created simultaneously in one universe, but all universes are created at one time and annihilated at one time. I don't know exactly.
I have one more question. Is that okay? So, and then you were mentioning that there is 24 elements. 4 of them are the mind, intelligence, false ego. And then you mentioned the fourth one is Mahatattva, which Mahatattva is being perceived...
in the form of Chitta in our body.
Yeah, can you explain a little more about that? Because how Mahatattva becomes Chitta, and what is Chitta in our body? How is that works?
Because Chitta is a part of the subtle body. In 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 4 parts of the subtle body. Chitta, and the presiding deity of Chitta is Vasudeva. And then Ahankar, and presiding deity of Ahankar is Sankarshan. And then intelligence, and presiding deity of intelligence is Pradyumna. And then there is mind, and presiding deity of mind is Aniruddha. So these are the 4 parts of the subtle body. So this is polluted consciousness, which is representing Mahat Tattva. But the pure consciousness is the symptom of soul. So we have to purify the polluted consciousness and get free from the Mahat Tattva and focus on the pure consciousness of the soul.
Okay. Let me see if I understood correctly. So it's the mind, which is subtle, the intelligence, false ego, and there is another element which is subtle as well, which is impure, called chitta, right? And then the soul, which is the one.
Soul is
Okay.
25th element.
Okay.
Because it's soul, then everything works. Without soul, it is inert matter. Soul is 25th and super soul is 26th.
So can we say that chitta is like a false ego type of, but more refined?
No, it's, say, mind in a false ego is a false identification of the body and soul. And consciousness is a different from this. The purpose of consciousness is dharana. Function of consciousness is dharana. Dharana means meditation. Function of consciousness is dharana. Function of mind is sankalpa, vikalpa. Function of intelligence is discrimination. And function of false ego is false identification with the body. So the function of the chit is dharana. Last night I was teaching the 55th chapter of 10th canto for Bhakti Vedanta, where Pradyumna, and then the whole description is Pradyumna, say chitta, it cannot be mind, because mind has no function like chitta, which action is dharana. So it cannot be like that. Hare Krishna. Anyway, this is a very technical, it's a very technical subject matter. Yes? Yeah.
Hare
Yes,
Krishna
Doctor.
Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you mentioned that the time factor, that is Kala Shakti, it agitates the Mahatattva. So in Brahma Samhita, it is further described, not directly it agitates, but through Sambhu. Can you elaborate a little more? How the glance of Mahavishnu, it goes to Sambhu, then Bhaya.
Glance of the Mahavishnu, when touches the Prakriti, it transforms into Sadashiv. The Sadashiv, because Vishnu never touches the Prakriti. Prakriti is under the jurisdiction of Shiva. So that glance, when reaches to the Mahat Tattva, it transforms into Shiva. And Shiva is in that way, because it annihilates, it is acting as a Kal also. And it is also the presiding deity of the polluted consciousness, or polluted false ego. So glance of the Lord is, when come in contact with the material nature, it becomes Sadashiv.
Baba, Srimad Bhagavatam, you quote the Srimad Bhagavatam 11.3.8. It speaks about time collapsing everything into avyakta.
Avyakta.
Yes. When the Lord glances and injects time into the living entities to start creation, is it our unfulfilled material desires that compel the Mahatattva to manifest distinct bodies for us?
Mahat Tattva is agitated by the time, yes. Then three modes come into agitation and then creation starts. First mode of goodness, false ego is mode of goodness, false ego and mode of passion, false ego and mode of ignorance. So in three forms it creates the 16 elements. 5 grass elements, 5 knowledge acquiring senses. So they create like mind, all these from false ego and goodness, passion and ignorance.
That means it compels the Mahatattva to develop the...
Mahat Tattva transform into this. From Mahat Tattva, all these 16 elements come out. by the influence of time.
But here time collapses, right? In the 11.3.2, time is collapsed, right? In Avyakta.
Ultimately, after the annihilation is over, there is no function of time. Time has nothing to do. So time enters into the Lord himself. Because ultimately, time represents Lord. So when there is no, and it is only needed for the creation and maintenance. There is no call in the spiritual world. In one sense, call has no influence in the spiritual world. So call is the time for creation and annihilation. So it is in the material world. When there is no creation, call rests into the Supreme Lord, Mahavishnu. And it comes out through his glands. It enters through his glands also. As the creation takes place, it just reverses everything back. Hare Krishna. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nidai Gaur Premanande.
Hey, welcome. Nice to see you again.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,